Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Out in the meadow, in tall grass, below the castle, dirt got wedged under our nails when we were little. Then we got taller, sprayed in the collar, learned to lament. If your kids sit still to feel unfulfilled, suddenly you're less than.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. I'm Cynthia Davis.
And I'm Art DeVitalis. Now for this week's news.
This episode is brought to you by the Mountain Man Outdoor Store, Hardt's Backhoe, Brightwood Music, Very Nice Brewing Company, and of course, the Mountaineer Newspaper.
In a mask, the calamity of monotony left to those who can't contrast.
For our lead story today, we'll talk to Kathy Bremers about her watercolor art, where the inspiration for it comes from, and where you can see more of it in several locations in Netherlands and online.
I am Kathy Bremers, and I've lived in the Peak to Peak mountain area since 1979 and started painting about 16 years ago after I spent 28 years raising children and found a new passion in watercolor. I also work in acrylics and I teach and I love painting.
All right. Good answer there. What sort of subject matter do you focus on?
Mostly nature. You know, I'm interested in painting things that I have a connection to. I love helping other people through my work feel their connection to nature and to one another. So I'll paint nature scenes with animals. I love to paint pictures of my grandchildren in nature, but really very, very nature-based, and living in the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains, inspiration surrounds me.
Kind of blend the two, like watercolor and acrylic?
Not very often. There have been a few times that I will paint a background in watercolor and then add something in with acrylic. But my first teacher was a bit of a purist with watercolor, and so I've followed in her footsteps. Like you said, you know, I spent years raising my children and then had a big life change. Found myself living on my own for a while and really having a deep desire of surrounding myself with wisdom, looking for wisdom to assist me on my next life decisions, and found my way into a watercolor class in Netherlands, a seniors women's watercoloring class, and was surrounded by these incredible, wonderful, wise women who I learned watercolor from, but also an appreciation for aging well, for deciphering the things that are of the most importance in life, and how to share that with others.
Do you find that, like, you discovered maybe greater mindfulness in that process, or discovered more about it doing that?
You know, I think it's a greater appreciation of women who had lived their lives well. I, became a daily practice of watercolor painting with these women who had also been painting for quite a while. We started a small gallery in Netherlands and continued painting together. As far as life and how it applied to life was just seeing the beauty in everything. It opened my eyes to looking at things differently. I can recall looking at scenery in nature and seeing the colors differently, recognizing what the colors were, what makes a shadow, what is the color of those things. So I think just helping me see with new eyes.
Since you started, how many pieces do you think you've completed?
Oh my goodness. A couple hundred probably. I have over 90 pieces that I have had my work scanned and made greeting cards from and prints. So I sell the cards and prints and I have actually it's probably close to 120 different paintings that I have had prints made of. So quite a few. I kind of hate to tell you how many are left unfinished, but there's quite a few of those too.
Where can people find more of your work?
Right now I have my work showing at the Mine Shaft in Netherlands. It's a restaurant. At the Train Cars, which is a coffee shop, Netherlands. Coal Creek Coffee in Coal Creek Canyon, and the Red Wagon in Golden. I also have an online presence through Facebook. You can find that through searching my name.
Search Kathy Bremers to see more. And thank you, Kathy, for telling us about your work.
To the news desk. The Mineshaft restaurant offers modern comfort food with a southern influence. They are located at 35 East 1st Street in Nederland and can be reached at 303-258-0649. You can find them on Facebook at The Mineshaft Nederland.
Gilpin Art presents an exhibition by the Colorado Watercolor Society. The 30th Annual State Show runs from April 15th through May 24th, 2021 in Washington Hall. Hours are 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., Thursday through Sunday. The hall will be open 7 days a week starting May 1st from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and is located at 117 Eureka Street in Central City.
Free COVID tests are available at the Nederland Community Center every Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. No appointment or ID is required.
Gilpin County has COVID-19 testing at Gilpin County Public Health Office. That's 101 Norton Drive every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sign up at www.primarybio.com. Please pre-register prior to arrival.
In 2010, the town of Nederland adopted Vision 2030, a planning document where, through community feedback, Nederland identified goals for the town to accomplish over a decade. And this is from 2010 to 2020. As Nederland heads into the next decade, the town is seeking to develop the Vision 2030 action plan. Through April 2021, the town is seeking feedback from the community on the vision statement, goals, and objectives that have been identified by the 2030 Advisory Committee. Visit the town website to learn about the 9 different ways that you can provide feedback and comments on this.
The High Country Auxiliary is holding an in-person silent auction to support their local first responders. The event will take place May 15th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Gilpin Arts Museum. For more information or to purchase your tickets, check out www.highcountryauxiliary.com. The Mountaineer newspaper is working on senior profiles during all of April and May. If you are a high school senior, please reach out to us at publisher1977@gmail.com for more information. We have student interns and staff reporters to help create your story for this annual celebration of graduation.
And now we head to Dango Rose for an interview with Haley Gowland, who provides our current theme music. This is a great interview from an artist that has come to call Ned her home. Take it away, Dango.
All right. This is Dango Rose with the Mountaineer Podcast. Everybody's listening. My guest today is Haley Gowland, Nederland local resident, songwriter, musician. It's wonderful to have you today. How are you doing, Haley?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. You know, it looks like you are releasing music very soon. The Smallest Giant, I believe, is the album name. And you have a couple singles coming up off of it. Is this your first release, or where are you at in that phase?
I started recording mixing, producing all by myself about a year ago, right when the pandemic hit. I've always played in bands and things like that, but I really wanted to take matters into my own hands. And since then, I've had 3 single releases. The first one coming out sometime in the fall, I think, or maybe early winter. And so this will be number 4 and number 5.
Oh, cool. And then are you going to package all those as like its own EP? Is that sort of what it was looking at, or?
Actually, I don't think so. I really wanted to get those early ones out. Someone I work with a lot says, a song isn't real if it isn't on the internet. Like, it doesn't exist. All this work that you put into it, you got to put it into the world for it to mean something. And I kind of took that to heart and just wanted to get stuff out there, kind of just to prove to myself, yeah, I can get this out in the world and it's going to be okay. Because, it's incredibly vulnerable putting something out for the first time.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a plan to bring them all together. They're all a little bit different and unique. But at some point, an EP or an album is definitely going to be in the works, but not at the moment.
And the process, are you producing these tracks on your own for the most part?
I am, yes. Except for mastering. I do everything else.
Cool. So are you tracking most of the instrumentation, or do you have other people involved as well?
Yeah, I'm tracking the instruments for sure. I play guitar and bass and I sing, and I can get by on a keyboard for any MIDI parts. The worst part of that is I'm not a drummer, so I've got a plug-in service called Easy Drummer. So I can, type them in with a keyboard. But even then, that's always my biggest struggle because I'm just not a drummer. My boyfriend and my brother are both drummers, so I'm constantly texting them like, what would you do with this hit? Do you hit it? Where's the accent on this snare?
Yeah, and then with that drumware program, is it sort of like sequences that you sort of take and then place and mute, or are you kind of just creating from scratch with like a drum pad, or is it all keyboard?
They offer that. They offer some sequences and some already created samples. I usually plug it in myself, come up with the beat myself, because I'll already have a guitar riff or I'll already have most of the song put together, and I want something a little bit more specific.
Cool, and you're playing bass on it as well, huh?
Yes, yeah.
How cool. And then multi-vocal layers, I would say.
Oh yeah, love my vocal layers, love my harmonies. I can do those all day.
Oh my God, so you must be having so much fun in your little personal studio. And it's right in Netherlands. You're pretty close to town, kind of on the, we won't get into your precise location, but it's like your walking distance to town. So that's cool.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Yeah, we were able to walk right down into town and hang out, and we love it up here so much. We came up in December of 2019, so it was a couple months before the pandemic hit. Yeah, so just over a year.
Okay, cool. Where'd you move in from?
Just outside Boulder in Niawat. But before that, I've been in Colorado about 3 years, but my boyfriend and I were both East Coasters, Connecticut and Massachusetts. Great building in my college called the Barn. It was an old squash court that was converted by students and painted all over, and everybody would leave gear in there so you could have shows Friday, Saturday nights. Pretty unique for a college experience.
Yeah, how does it compare? I mean, it's different out there. You're kind of in seaport towns, and now you're up in the mountains. Right pushed against the east side of the Continental Divide. How does it influence or affect your songwriting or your creative process to be high up in the mountains?
Yeah, I mean, the whole culture is completely different. You're trading boat shoes for Chacos out here, or Crocs or whatever else. And way less pastels, no more polos anymore. Everybody's outdoorsy, which is really healthy for me. And I find myself writing tunes, sitting on a deck outside, and I'm just inspired by being in new places as well. And there's always something new to explore out here. So my writing definitely got kind of rejuvenated when I moved out here and had all this newness to explore.
Yeah. How would you describe your writing and your music style?
It's funny. It probably all sound, when you listen to an album and all the songs sound the same, yet as the writer, I feel like everyone is pretty different. I like to experiment and try new things. That's half the fun of writing for me, is playing with new sounds and trying new, instruments and things like that. A little at a time, of course. But yeah, yeah,
it's cool. Your latest release, Castle. What really drew me in was just all the layers, there's a lot of layers to your production style and your songwriting.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think it all boils down to indie, you know, being self-produced too. Indie, singer-songwriter, alternative-ish. But yeah.
Cool. When did you get your start? When did you start writing songs?
Oh man, when I was a kid, my dad was I have a lot of drummers in my circle. My dad was a drummer and played in a band. So my brother and I would fall asleep, you know, hearing the bass and the kick drum in the basement as he was playing until like 1 a.m. with his friends. And soon enough, it just seemed natural that like, oh, it's time for us to start a band, you know, when we were in 4th grade or something like that. And we were lucky enough to have a drum set in the basement, you know, a couple guitars laying around because that was my dad's biggest hobby. And we started a band, and actually my brother and I played together all the way through college until I moved out here and he went to LA. We played for a long time, but that's how I got my start, just playing in the basement and then playing battles of the bands and fall festivals, you know, a million fall festivals in New England. And there are actually some really great teen centers as well that would put on shows, so we got in on those.
That's so cool. So you were in a band pretty much since you can remember, for the most part.
The beginning of time, yeah.
And
I can't remember not playing in bands.
In those early bands, were you playing bass or were you playing guitar? What was your main act?
Yes, I was playing guitar in the main band, bass. Every once in a while, a project would come up where I got to play bass, which I really love playing the bass. You kind of get to chill out in the background. Otherwise, I was lead guitarist, lead singer. Front and center, which isn't exactly my personality, but I make it happen on the stage.
Right on. Yeah, I'm excited to listen more and to hear more about your music. And it's great to know that you found a home in Colorado. I guess you haven't really been able to explore or get out there too much since you've been releasing these singles because it's been COVID time. How is that?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it's been a positive thing for your creativity on the production side and the songwriting side. Have you been writing a lot during this past year?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of needed to slow down. I've been focusing on other work, and I work some outdoor ed jobs, which can be particularly physically tolling. And I wasn't writing for a long time. I typically don't like writing by myself. I like writing with other people, and I left my bands on the East Coast and had done a little bit of writing here and there, but nothing as serious as out there. So when the pandemic hit, I really had time to slow down, to like reprioritize. And I decided I'm going to figure out, if it kills me, how to record myself and produce and mix. That was the other thing. Like, what's the point of me writing if I'm not going to be able to record it? But I was just missing a couple really key skills to be proud of what I was putting out. So I really hunkered down, figured out a little bit more about what I'm doing, and I still have a ways to go, but I definitely became quite obsessed over the last year with music production. Definitely got me through the pandemic.
Right on. Which DAW do you utilize?
I use Logic.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the tools of the trade, huh? And how's mixing going for you? I mean, mixing is its own world altogether. Are you enjoying that?
I mean, it's a love-hate relationship. I'm sure you know. You either love it or you hate it. But I think I've loved it a lot more than I've hated it. You know, you can tell mix to mix that you're getting better at certain things. And the most rewarding thing for me has been figuring out my workflow. So now my mixes are taking a fraction of the time that they were a year ago. A year ago, it took me forever to finish a song. And it's so rewarding seeing that, you know, song 5 that I'm putting out into the world, like, I got it done in half the time I thought it was going to take because I've been putting this practice in. So that is really rewarding. And there's just so much knowledge. There's so much to learn. I love learning in general. And so just diving into compressors and EQs and different, you know, techniques you can do, vocal throws for fun. And I just find it really, really fun. Clearly.
I do too. I find it absolutely fascinating, and like it's just a treasure trove. The more you get to it, the more there is, you know.
Exactly. I drove up in the snow and I was thinking to myself, what am I doing? Because I'm driving up the canyon for the first time and it's snowing and I was so nervous. And then I remember walking in to Very Nice and just immediately getting the vibe of Ned. Like people were looking over like, oh, there's music. And then I got introduced to like 6 people right off the bat. And I just thought, wow, this place is like the friendliest, quirkiest place I've ever been in my whole life. Who knew we'd end up moving here 2 years later? But yeah, that was my first impression.
Yeah, such a great story how musicians go up to Ned, have that kind of experience, leave, and then find themselves living there like a year or 2 later.
Yeah, yeah, it's truly unique.
It's part of the history. And so it's great to know that you are now part of that in the present.
It's great to be a part of it.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear more of your music. Where can people find out about you?
Yes, for sure. I'm all over Spotify, Apple Music. If you type in The Smallest Giant, I'm the only one that comes up, which is great. You can find links to all my projects, booking, press, all that fun stuff on HaleyGowlandMusic.com. And Haley, and then Gowland is Cowland with a G. Yeah. And I'm also, Instagram, social medias, would love a follow at The Smallest Giant. Again, you can find me that way.
Okay, got it. So your performance moniker is The Smallest Giant. Is that correct?
I haven't used it for performances yet, since it's just been the last year. I've been using that to release music under. Usually if I'm playing in a restaurant or doing a solo gig, it's just under Haley Gowland Music, but mostly just because I don't play that many originals when I do those gigs. But
well, cool. This is Haley Gowland, The Smallest Giant. Thank you for being with us today. My name is Dango Rose. This is the Mountaineer Everybody's Listening podcast. Anything you'd like to leave our listeners with? One parting word or 2?
Yeah, just thanks for listening to this and listening to local and small independent artists, because every listen counts and we appreciate it so immensely.
Thank you, Dango and Haley. And find out more online.
The Mountaineer has advertising packets that include print, social media, online, and podcast ads. Email publisher1977@gmail.com for info on a marketing plan for all your business needs.
The Mountain Man Outdoor Store carries new and used outdoor gear, Carhartts, Loki, Darn Tough socks, hats, gloves, goggles, helmets, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and more. They have everything you need as a Ned local and everything you didn't know you'd need when visiting from afar. They are located at 20 East Lakewood Drive, Unit 111 in Nederland, and can be reached at 303-258-3295.
The Gilpin County Extension Office is offering a wildfire forecast and preparation in the Peak to Peak region. The event is set for April 19th, 2021 at 6 p.m. This is an opportunity to learn more about drought and wildfire preparations, local fuel models, and why home ignition zone and defensible space mitigation are essential in protecting your home and neighborhood in our region. Visit sawsandslaws.org to register in advance for this webinar.
The Peak to Peak Rotary Club in Gilpin County is hosting a Drive Up Food Pantry food drive on Saturday, May 8th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Gilpin Food Pantry north entrance of the Justice Center. This is located at 2960 Dory Hill Road. All District Area 8 Rotary Clubs are doing a coordinated day of service on May 8th, including our sister clubs in Evergreen, Georgetown, Genesee, and Conifer. Each benefits their local food pantry. Requested donations include tuna, peanut butter, soups, mac and cheese, pasta, and sauce, alternative milk, butter, kid-friendly lunch foods, diapers size 3 and 4, personal care items, and cash and check donations are always welcome.
Community champions have been announced. For the next 4 weeks, we'll highlight all 18 nominees in the Mountaineer podcast. This week, it's the Volunteer of the Year Awards. Jay Brotherton is up next. Jay has been a tremendous asset to the Jamestown community for many years. She organized the food giveaway for the greater Jamestown area, helping to feed the community. She's also the first to step up and do the dirty work, and by doing so, leads through example. She's been the organizer for the Jamestown 4th of July fundraiser for the local fire department and its representative for the Black Lives Matter movement. Jay is also an active volunteer in JAM, Jamestown Artists and Musicians.
First up, Jim Reese. Jim is the very definition of a volunteer who goes above and beyond to help others. We have seen this firsthand as members with him at the Nederland Community Presbyterian Church and also as a neighbor in Nederland. Jim has served as the missions chair, taking on all aspects of Rocky Mountain Mission. He completes building projects, works on church cleanup, town cleanup, parks and trails, the church firewood bank, and so much more. He is one of many wonderful and caring volunteers that make Nederland the amazing community that it is.
As well, we honor Claudia Schaffler. She's worked and continues to work tireless hours serving the homeless and people in need. She has a special focus on coordinating volunteers during the pandemic.
Another amazing local volunteer is Jessie Ansari. Jess has demonstrated stellar leadership, awe-inspiring work ethic, and an endless capacity for compassion over this difficult time. She is president of the Mountain Forum for Peace, worked to partner with the Mountain Mask Project, is chair of the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Advisory Board, among many other roles in town. In her ongoing work, she continues to demonstrate her importance to our organization, our town, and the broader community. And last but not least, we recognize Nicole Cavallino. Nicole continues to go above and beyond to modify the senior program to meet the crisis of feeding homebound people during the pandemic crisis, donating many hours each week beyond normal working hours to ensure the program survived by doing the cooking at times, delivering meals each week. At the same time, she found grant funding to accommodate the huge increase in need to the tune of thousands of dollars for the community.
Visit Brightwood Music in Nederland for repairs to your stringed instruments. They'll restring, clean, and test your 6-string acoustic guitar for $15, plus the cost of your choice of the wide variety of strings offered, starting at $8.99.
Brightwood Music is family-owned and operated and has been a Nederland staple for over a decade. They are located at 20 East Lakewood Drive, Unit 109 in Nederland, and can be reached at 303-258-8863, or you can find them on Facebook at Brightwood Music.
Hardt's Backhoe Service is your locally owned and operated excavating company working in the Peak-to-Peak region. They take care of all your excavating needs, including septic installation, digging your new foundation, rock walls, construction, demolition, and so much more. Now scheduling summer and fall projects as the weather warms up. You can reach them at 303-589-9354 or find them on Facebook at Hardt's, Hardts, Backhoe.
For our final story today, we talked to Martina Cook of the Mineshaft Restaurant. Here's what she had to say about the first year opening a business in the middle of a pandemic.
Hi, my name is Martina Cook. I'm the owner of the Mineshaft in Nederland. The building itself's been a couple of restaurants through the years. We bought this March 13th of last year, and COVID happened, and we had 3 days of operations and got shut down March 16th. It was pretty much me in here doing all the cooking and to-go orders. Then I started family specials, like good, big comfort food, take-home meals. So the community got to start knowing my food and tasting my food. And to this day, I still do weekly specials. So that was some of my forefront. My motto is actually comfort food with a southern flair at an affordable price. I would rather the people come and enjoy my living room and my home 3 times a month instead of once every 3 months by ever pricing them. And all my food's like handmade. My biscuits and gravy are made from scratch. Our chicken strips, all our chicken's done by hand. There's nothing out of a bag here. And I keep my prices relative to the community. They're already paying enough in rent and travel, so why do they have to pay so much for food and get good food like that? We're still doing improvements to it. We'll have live music out in the patio in the summer. With COVID, it's just been such a struggle from the prices from plasticware to, our gloves in March last year was $35 or $178 now for a case of gloves. So things have been a struggle. And then people being scared and not coming out. But I think we're turning the corner. We've made it a year now. Our 1-year anniversary was March 13th, 2021. So that makes you feel good. With vaccines and stuff, we are very protective up here, and it's very nice to live in a community that cares about each other's health. So it makes a big difference. But I'll be glad to see some faces I haven't seen in a while. That would be nice.
So here's a taste of the menu as well, and a nice rundown of Martina's experience in the culinary world.
Well, our burgers, we do 8-ounce fresh burgers. They're Angus burgers. That's one of our biggest sales. But then my specials, I do everything from gumbo. We had a crawfish boil. I'm doing walleye every 2 weeks through summer. So we have fresh walleye every other Friday going through summer. And anybody that gets on my Facebook page or nedtogo.com can always see we're doing a big Mother's Day special. I did a big Easter special. Thanksgiving, I did take-home dishes. So all you have to do is cook the turkey, and I provide all the sides for you. So, and it's that Southern flair. There's a little bit of Tony's in something, or there's a little bit of taste in everything. It's not going to be bland. Right. The specials are the hard ones, yes. Those are taking me out of my realm sometimes, doing the weekly specials. But I've grown up in the restaurant industry. Both my grandparents as a child owned restaurants in a small town, probably the size of Netherlands. I bounced back and forth in restaurants. I was doing dishes at 6 and 7 and cooking at 8, so I've been in it. But the specials still give me, but I want them, the people come for it. I love to see them smile. The greatest thing I can do is walk through the dining room and see them eating my food, nodding their head. When they nod their head, yes, when they take a bite. It's amazing. So that's still my theory.
Clearly, this is a passion and a family tradition that she continues at the restaurant today. But what do specials for drinks and even dogs look like?
Next to some of the breweries in town, we're the only other place that has 13 taps. So our beer specials, we do happy hour, 3 to 6 every day of the week. Great food specials. It's very dog friendly. We sell 5 ounces of grilled chicken in a dog bowl for $5. So very dog friendly. And then our happy hour always. Drink specials, we rotate them in and out, so it kind of changes.
Do you have cocktails and stuff as well?
Kinda. We make silly names of them, but yes, we do. We have like a Tony Baloney or something like that, so we name it after the staff sometimes. But great cocktails. We have very experienced bartenders here that can whip up their own specials or satisfy anybody's needs, really. Full bar and 13 taps on our beer.
Again, this is a family tradition, with Martina the only one in the family currently to continue on the craft of delicious back-home meals.
It was strange. I was talking to my dad last night, and it's like I'm the only one out of the family that's still carrying on the tradition. But I'll make jokes about it. My biscuit and gravy are so good. I tell people at the tables, if I didn't do it right for you, my grandparents would come out of their grave and take care of me, like they used to do with switches. So, but yeah, it's influenced everything. It's knowledge that I didn't even realize I had because you grow up in it. There's techniques that I knew that I didn't even know I knew without growing up in that. And then my partner, my boyfriend, he's owned a restaurant. He's owned 2 restaurants in Alabama. It was on Food Paradise. So he had years in culinary school. I've learned, like most of us, the hard road and how to do it right. And so both of us are experienced in it. So it's something that it's like a gift that we're giving to the community, it feels like. The love and the food is what we seek.
Naturally, we asked if family recipes played a part.
Yeah, but like my biscuits and gravy, I would not bring that recipe out of the office. I had it hid because I didn't want any cook coming in here to know it or to learn it. My gumbo recipe, nobody gets. My jambalaya recipe, nobody gets. My lasagna recipe, nobody gets. So yeah, there's some family food options that I bring in that those are from my chicken and dumplings. That's my grandmother's. Nobody will ever see that except me. And those are the specials that people love.
Of course, where can you find and see more of this online?
We're on Facebook. I don't have an Instagram account yet. Everybody's telling me I should, but when you're the chef, the owner, the janitor, the bartender, I'll find my Instagram person eventually. There's a hat that says Instagram, and I'll put it on one day. No, this has been kind of fun, my brain reflecting. It's kind of been nice. It's been a crazy hard year. So to reflect and feel joyful about it and do this interview is really nice.
Thank you, Martina. And check out the Mine Shaft in downtown Ned if you haven't already.
Out in the meadow, in tall grass, below the castle. Dirt got wedged under our nails when we were little.
Our new theme was created and produced by Haley Gowland of The Smallest Giant. The song is called Castle. You can find out more at HaleyGowlandMusic.com or check out The Smallest Giant on Spotify.
And that's all for this week's episode of the Mountaineer Podcast.
Pick up this week's edition of the Mountaineer in print.
And go online to www.themtnear.com to catch up on more local news. I'm Art DeVitalis.
And I'm Cynthia Davis. Until next time, thank you for listening.
The calamity of monotony left to those who can't contrast. If you can't sit still, then don't sit still.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.